Gloria Steinem and her exploration of feminism. Tonight, it is my pleasure to introduce Gloria Steinem. I will introduce Gloria Steinem. I have to. No, it makes sense. What am I going to do? I have to go. No, I'm out of time. Feminism. It's a large word for some. Feminism is why we are here tonight. Feminism unites us. Feminists are strong, brave people who are not afraid to explore the world around them. They encourage new encounters and revel in their exchange with others. Feminism honors our past and explores our future. Our feminist history is structured on 3 ways. The first is considered the women's suffragette movement, beginning in the 1920s. The second is women's rights in the wider world, beginning in the 1960s and 70s. And the third is women's equal rights, beginning in the 90s. I unite my feminist story with Gloria Steinem's. Wherever I travel, whomever I meet, however I exchange my story with others, I know who I am. A feminist. Me. What do you picture when you think of the road? I'd like to ask this of Gloria. She spent most of her life traveling the world. Her childhood was spent in almost constant movement. Living a life on the road, Gloria encountered new people and explored her country. As an adult, Gloria continued to travel, but on a global scale. She traveled to Bombay, now Mumbai, India, in 1956. Armed with only a notebook and a sari, it was here that she encountered Mahatma Gandhi's idea for the non-violence movement. Gloria also saw how women in India were treated. They were confined to the house, destined to cook and clean forever, and dominated by men. However, many women wanted a chance to exchange these societal norms for a larger place in their communities. They stood up to the unfairness by protesting for equal rights and new government laws. Gloria saw Gandhi's influence in action. She saw the story of India's women reflected all over the world. Gender inequality was happening in the US too, and she wanted to compel American women to join the uprising second wave movement. Gloria returned to New York to look for a job as a journalist. Here she encountered one problem. This was America, 1957, no one would hire a female journalist. Gloria attained what she called her first real job in 1962. It was working for Clay Felker at Esquire, a men's magazine. As a journalist, Gloria could now report societal feminism. Her first article was about the principle of contraception in America, but it was rejected. A determined woman, Steinem didn't back down. Her next article shone a spotlight on a woman's choice between marriage and a career. She wrote, "I've never heard a man ask for advice on how to manage his career and a marriage." This article did get published. A Bunny's Tale was featured in a 1963 edition of Show magazine. Gloria had posed as a Playboy bunny at the newly opened Playboy Club in New York City. Her expose shed light on how women who worked as bunnies were underpaid, misused, and treated terribly. Entertaining men at a nightclub was one of the few choices of work for women outside the home. This became one of her defining articles. For nearly half a decade after the story was published, Gloria couldn't find work. She had spoken out in favor of women in public. This became Gloria Steinem's first lasting mark as a second-wave feminist. Her career took the backlash. Here I quote, "Once I'd become a bunny, it didn't matter why. No one would hire an ex-Playboy bunny, no matter what her talents were." In Washington, D.C., 1967, Gloria marched in a Women's Strike for Peace rally. Here, surrounded by people who shared a common goal, equal rights for women. At this rally, ideas were explored, ideas that made women stronger. Also through this rally, Gloria discovered another form of feminism, campaigning. "I have this oddball love of campaigning," Gloria said. "In all the stages of campaigning, I've never felt sorry." Gloria had found her platform. She was able to campaign and exchange through her writing and attending rallies. Clay Felker had not had enough of Gloria Steinem and hired her as a political journalist for New York Magazine in 1969. Politics and feminism had not stopped with the first wave. Gloria attended another campaign, a red stocking abortion speak out, also in 1969. These were radical feminists, outspoken women who knew the power of communication. Gloria later said that her active feminist career did not begin until that day. In the time after the rally, Gloria wrote the piece that would fuel her rise to fame. It was titled, After Black Power, Women's Liberation. It spoke of stereotypes and the need to overcome. Gloria wrote that how, as feminists, women and girls could relate to each other on a whole new level, devoid of race or color. They could exchange vital information about who they were and where they came from in order to aid the equal rights movement. This was the beginning of intersectionality in feminism. It was where all these ideas of social equality could be interconnected all over the world. The second wave was breaking tide, and Gloria rode the crest. Only one way to define the 1970s. This is Gloria Steinem's decade. She became the first woman to speak at the National Press Club. She co-founded as well as represented the National Women's Political Caucus. Then, in January 1972, she won for pioneering achievements. Creation of Ms. Magazine. Ms. was a woman empowering magazine only expected to last one issue. It discussed different views on feminism and spoke about how women were just as strong as men. 300,000 copies and 26,000 subscription orders later, Gloria Steinem had done it. Using her encounters across the nation and the power of words, Gloria had exchanged her ideas with the world. Women were now relating to the idea of social equality and change for their gender. Ms. had discussed a common opinion that women were not as good as men, and Gloria had found her answers through exploration, encounters, and sharing. You've heard of a concert tour before, right? In the 1970s, Gloria Steinem went on a listening tour. She traveled the country, learning and experiencing not only geographically, but mentally, what it meant to be a feminist. She looked for everyday people like you and me, and she listened to them. If you have questions for Gloria tonight, please ask. You will be heard. Gloria's spotlight continued to grow brighter. She was asked to speak at many different places. Teaming up with other activists, such as Dorothy Pittman Hughes, she traveled the country not only to speak, but to inspire people to become feminists. Gloria later said that public speaking is the core of what she does. Click. What does that mean? To me, this word, it isn't just a sound. It's a feminist revolution, and one of the many ways that Gloria Steinem has inspired me. After the spread of Ms., women began to stand up for themselves, not only in the home, but in their workplace and their communities. The word click represented the moment when women realized who she was, a strong and beautiful human being. The word click is still used today, and is one of the many reasons showing what Gloria Steinem has exchanged with one and all. The 80s brought both triumphs and tragedies for the name Gloria Steinem. There is no simple reform. It really is a revolution. Sex and race have been the primary ways of categorizing human beings into superior and inferior groups and into cheap labor. We are talking about a society in which there will be no roles other than those chosen and those earned. That's a quote from Gloria's first book, Outrageous Acts and Everyday Rebellions. Steinem has this way with words that can only come from years of exploration, encounters, and the exchange of political thoughts, ideas, and actions. Gloria Steinem is all about positivity, yet in 1986, a cancer diagnosis put under health. She recovered and continued her life's work. Exploring the road called to Gloria, and she followed. Back there, she really embraced the power of feminism. While traveling, Steinem could exchange with people on a whole new level, no matter their race or gender. Intersectionality became more of a common theme as the world spread out for Steinem. She traveled to share her experiences, to show how she could relate to people as a feminist speaker and female compatriot. Following years, she was inducted in the National Women's Hall of Fame and given numerous awards. Media has played a huge role in feminism. In 2005, she co-founded the Women's Media Center, which is still around today. In 2013, she was given the highest award possible, Presidential Medal of Freedom. She wrote more books and continued to travel. Gloria's exploration has shaped our encounters. Our encounters shape our exchange with society, our exploration, our world. Everything is interconnected. Steinem knows that only as ourselves may we shape our paths. You know, you really don't need me to introduce her. She She feels like one of us. She is one of us. Each of us in the crowd tonight can interconnect our story with hers. She has given us not only dreams and passion and hope, she has given us the power to change the future for the better of ourselves and for the better of our world. Please, I hope you feel inspired, because inspiration leads to ideas, and our ideas will change the world. Just ask Gloria.